T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the 5 Foot Viking. My name is Whit Petrell, and I'm super excited to have this podcast where we get to drink a beer and learn something new. Fortunately, I'm not drinking beer tonight because I've been at home all day because it's been pouring rain. So I stepped it up and I got into the 12-year-old Scotch. So I'll be sipping on some Scotch today. Looking forward to it. Before we get started, wanted to say thank you to everybody who tuned in last week and to everybody who's been tuning in via audio, which is it's really cool to see this happening. Seriously, I'm just a dude trying to make something happen here in my home studio and having some fun talking about whatever we can find to talk about and trying to connect with everybody at home. And putting everything up on Anchor.fm, which is a platform that it streams it to all the different streaming platforms, to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and it's been interesting to see in the back office how many people are really tuning in and listening. And I just really appreciate it. So it's really cool to see people in other countries and people in other regions listen to it throughout the week. And even though I'm going live on a Tuesday at 7:00 my time, it's cool to see that it people take a listen throughout the week. So thank you guys very much for that. I appreciate it. So this is what happened today. I finished school. As some of you guys know, about a week ago, and I'm getting back into the swing of things as far as, figuring out some different topics to talk about, some different guests, some different things that we can do with this podcast and have some fun with. And I was going through some stuff today, and I called up my wife and I said, "Babe, any chance would you like to be my guest?" It's always fun having Marlene on here. And we always get into some good conversation and some good stuff. And I said, I don't really know what we're going to talk about, but let's jump into it. And she is the one who told me, you need to call up your good friend, our amazing neighbor, Mr. Christopher Knight, who is in a tribute band called Damage Inc. And if you guys are fans of the show, you know that I've had Chris on, I think twice actually, which has been he's just an all around awesome guy. And so I reached out, and sure enough, he said, "You know what? I've got a few minutes. I'd love to jump on." And I wanted to chat with him about some cool things that are happening in his life. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you Mr. Chris Knight.
Hey. What's happening?
Hey, man, thank you once again so much for taking some time out of your day and hanging out with me via, this Zoom call right here. So
for sure, man. My pleasure.
So, and I know that you're not much of a drinker anymore, but are you, do you have anything?
I've got my little unleaded Trader Joe's sparkling lime water. Highly recommended. For you,
I love
non-drinkers out there.
We have some of that as well.
Joe's. Nice. Keep them on hand just in case I stop by, right?
Yes. You never know. You never know. 2-hour drive. I'm just saying.
Salud.
Skull, my friend. Good to see you. Let's jump into. We got a few comments already jumping in here. We got it. I don't. There's not a name on there. Just this Facebook user. It says, "Oh, you want to get 28 West drunk tonight?" Yes. Apparently, somebody was hanging out with me on Wednesdays back in the day. My dad up in Utah.
Nice. Utah in the house.
Word on your car. Oh, Edgar. He's talking to Edgar Hernandez, the Ed Namrock podcast, Dad. This is the 5 Foot Viking podcast. But yeah, my good friend Edgar, he had his car was stolen, but which is really unfortunate. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he got it back. So we'll have to follow up with that. And good friend Nicole. How are you, Nicole? She says, side note, I can't believe how fast your hair grows. Yeah, that's true. For those of you that are watching, it's been about 2 years and it's coming down. It's yeah. And you know what? Funny story, funny side note. I went to go get some pizza last night at a drive-through or at a walk-in place down the street. I go in and there's an older gentleman and his wife, and they're sitting at the booth and I'm waiting for my pizza. And the guy says, I normally don't say anything like this, excuse me. And I said, yeah, sure. What's up? And he goes, you have some gorgeous hair. And I just said, you know, what do you say to that? You know?
Right.
So I said, thank you. And he says, you know, well, back in my day, I used to have long hair too. So I miss it. And I'm like, oh, that's
you're like, what do you use? Pantene? Like
me and him just had a great conversation about conditioning and
dude, your fucking hair game's on point, man. That's pretty.
It's coming down, man. Yeah. I'm telling you.
It's a clips to the beard.
Well, when I had the beard, it was even more intense because the beard and the hair was like the same length almost.
Nice. You look like a lion.
Put him up. Put him up. We got Robert Vaughn. Damage Inc. rocks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Robert.
My wife is putting the horns up. Yes. And Facebook user, once again, oh my God, that was my comment. And my name didn't appear. What the fuck? It's okay.
Sometimes it's best to be incognito.
That is a good thing. Yeah? Sometimes, yes.
Be ninja. Embrace your inner ninja.
We got John. What's up, buddy? He says, hey, Whit. Hope all is good. Merry Christmas. Thank you, buddy. And thank you so much for being on here. Alberto, one of the #1 fans of the 5 Foot Viking, says Damage Inc. Yes, indeed. And also
Alberto,
the Viking. Yes, indeed. So before we jump into some of the cool stuff that's happening with the band, most of you guys know that me and Chris were neighbors for years. Like in the last 10 years, we were neighbors for like 8 of those years.
At least, yeah.
And so I just wanted to ask you personally, what's going on, man? How's everything back home in the Orange County?
It's not doing too bad. I mean, we had a lot of rain here, as I'm sure you guys probably had a ton out there too. You know, it's been all right. Haven't really met the neighbors that live in your apartment yet. I know there's somebody there. The light's on occasionally. You know, I just didn't want to go scratch at the window or anything like that.
Excuse me.
I do miss you guys. I mean, it's literally our bedroom window faces their living room.
Yeah.
Dining
and there were
room,
so many times that you just walk over, knock on the door. What are you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you doing? Want to hang out? I'm just waiting for the day that Karen gets drunk enough to walk over and knock on the door and be like, "Oh, I thought we were drinking it."
Right. I'm here for the cats.
Where's Whit?
Good times. Yeah, I miss having you guys here, man. It was good to see you guys a few weeks ago when we played Fantasy Springs. I got to drop in and
oh man, that was super, super cool. So speaking of Fantasy Springs, that's kind of how this whole podcast kind of started, because I found out about this show. So we're going to talk a little bit about a show that's coming up for you this Saturday in San Francisco. And when we were playing, this is a few weeks ago, Steel Rod and Damaging played together at the Fantasy Springs Casino in the Rock Yard, which was amazing. It's always such a good show jam with you guys, man.
Yeah, always love it, man.
It's a blast. We're looking over there. You guys are rocking. You're looking over here. We're rocking. Then we switch sides on the stage. And it's just, I mean, 2 bands playing the same song at the same time. You don't get that a whole lot.
No, Nope, and it's always a great time. You guys are brothers from other mothers,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah. So, well, when we were there, I think I saw a few days or a few weeks or something like that earlier. Um, there was a flyer that had Damage Inc. and two other Metallica tribute bands on it, and I guess I didn't look too deeply into the text on there, but I figured it was you guys kind of getting together and making something happen with a bunch of tribute bands. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard a rumor that Metallica, like actual Metallica, reached out to you guys. Is that what happened?
Vicious rumors, vicious rumors. No, actually, they they did. My wife actually, she's our booking manager,
Mhm.
and she got a call from Metallica's management, and they were talking about putting together a takeover weekend for their upcoming 40th anniversary at the end of the year, in which they were going to have a night that was dedicated towards tribute bands, kind of doing the Metallica stuff. And once we vetted that this was a legit thing, we kind of peed ourselves a little bit, and got the wheels started on putting this together. So they are having
Wow.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So,
Um,
I mean, you're obviously thinking, okay, so Metallica's got their eye on you, and I'm sure it's in the back, it's on the back burner, but they're aware of your presence, and so
that's still
to have
it's so strange to hear.
that's really cool, man, and
It is.
to have them kind of, hey, we're doing a 40th anniversary thing. What should we do for it? Let's get a couple tribute bands to come up here and rock our stuff. Like that's super cool that they would even think about doing something like that, let alone having their management like get the wheels in motion and call people and make it and that's really really cool, man. So how did it all transpire? So they
Yeah,
called
they
Karen.
called Karen. So they were looking to put together a night. They wanted at least our band. They had their management team had said that they at least wanted us. We were kind of the band selection, and they also wanted a band called Sandman, who
Mhm.
had gained a little Metallica infamy a couple years back by getting sued by their legal team for their
What?
logo. Yeah, their one of their members of their legal team had seen them using a logo that looked a little similar to, let's say, like the Saint Anger font that they were using, and so they
Okay.
got a cease and desist letter. And Metallica actually caught wind of it, that this was going on, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a minute! We don't want to sue anybody. This is just a big misunderstanding. A little
Uh-huh.
overzealous on the legal team. We'll, from what I understand, they said, you guys can use the logo for $1.
Yeah.
Basically, so it was kind of no
Yeah,
hard feelings, sort of thing. And so they wanted to bring them on board this show, since they already had a little bit of a rapport established, and then they had us pick. Or asked us if we knew some other bands out there. And of course, we've had some experience with our friends in Motor Breath up in
Okay.
the LA area. They've been around for quite some time, and we've traded members for some fill-in opportunities here and
Oh,
there.
that's
So
cool.
it's always cool when you got like-minded people that are super cool, level-headed, just want to play Metallica music and have fun. Don't take themselves too seriously, just like us.
Mhm.
And so they were a natural add-in on this, and so we kind of submitted the information, and then just kind of held our breath and crossed our fingers to make see if anything that we having done this for so many years,
Yeah.
you get the carpet pulled out from under you so many times. It's kind of like I thought we're just waiting for that other shoe to drop. This guy's not legit, or something's not going to
Yeah.
happen. And then they came back and confirmed, and started putting everything together and sending us the info. And we once they said we couldn't mention anything, though they wanted to release everything at once as one big weekend
For
thing.
sure.
And so we'd had to be tight-lipped about this for a couple of months, and it was hanging on to the biggest secret, like,
Wait a
we
minute.
want to tell people.
Did you
Yeah, for
say
a
for a
couple of
couple
months.
months?
Yes. Yeah. We've known about this for a little bit, but we weren't able to announce it. And of course, you know how it is. The fewer people that know about it, the less
Yeah.
chance of it getting
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
we just wanted to kind of keep it on the DL. And once they sent us the flyer, and said, "Hey, you guys can announce on Monday." I think I stared at the flyer for about 8 hours. I was just like,
the
our,
floodgates
right,
open, and
our name is on a flyer with Metallica's name on it. Are you serious? So yeah, it's a. I wouldn't call myself much of a scrapbooker, but I think I've got quite a few things that I could probably put together here
yeah,
that
this is
are going to be pretty
definitely in a
memorable.
book somewhere in my house.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel real to me. I'm sure once I finally set foot in the venue and we get ready to play, that it'll be real. But it's everything just seems so surreal right now.
Well,
Yeah, too cool to be true.
before all this happened, do you have you met anybody from Metallica? I know you've gone to a lot of their shows. I've gone to a show with you in San Diego a couple years ago, and there I think there was another show that you texted me a picture where you were standing front row, right in front of his microphone, and I'm like, it's got to be like looking in a mirror, bro. Like,
I think I did get a double take or whatever from a couple of the guys down there. Made eye contact with.
you're like,
I'm
yeah.
like right here, stalker. No, I actually got to meet Rob for 30 seconds at a NAMM convention once, and it was one of those where I kind of interrupted his conversation and
Mm.
begged him for a quick photo, and he was super gracious and kind of leaned in, did a photo. I'm sure I
Yeah.
was 3 sheets to the wind at the time, but yeah, I got to meet him really quick. My brothers actually got to meet. He won a meet and greet with them back in '08,
Oh,
and I got to
okay.
meet all of them, and said they were all super cool. He got my guitar faceplate for my Explorer signed by James, and he did a little scary guy and everything.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, that was cool. I still need to get a shadow box. I think anybody looking for Christmas present ideas, I need to get a shadow box and put that along with all my other Metallica memorabilia that from this show up on the
Are
wall.
you
But
are you gonna because you're doing this? Are you gonna get a chance to meet them on this show as well, or maybe fingers crossed? Hopefully they come to the show.
I hope. I don't know. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess would
Yeah.
be probably the word. Now we are getting to go see their shows, so we have tickets to Friday, and I believe we're getting tickets to Sunday's show. So our tribute night is sandwiched in between two Metallica concerts. They're
Okay.
playing Friday night, which we'll be attending, and then Sunday night they're playing also. So it's going to be a full. I mean, they've got a whole weekend of all kinds of stuff going on. We're just one cog in the wheel,
Okay.
but it's going to be a pretty busy weekend of all kinds of stuff.
That is super cool, man. So I'm just to let everybody know who's watching, if you're in the San Francisco area, or if you're just a baller and you want to go up to up to San Francisco for the weekend, there is a link in the description, on below or above, and I believe I put a description. I put a link to all the information there. It says Dunlop presents and tributes for all, that's a cool little title. A celebration of Metallica with Damage Inc., Motor Breath, and Sandman. It's at Bimbo's 365, and that's on 1025 Columbus Avenue. The doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8. And how does it go? How's the lineup go? Is it just everybody flips a coin and see who goes first?
I think what we're doing is we kind of discussed. We met with the other bands ahead of time and sort of just laid everything out. For everybody, just kind of what songs we're playing. Because we didn't want to double up on anything. We also Metallica requested that maybe we throw out some deep cuts.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll definitely we'll be dabbling into the library a little bit that night. But I think for what we established was we're going to have Sandman kind of kick the evening off.
Okay.
With some of the power ballads and some of the cool hits. And then Motor Breath is going to, come along, melt everybody's face with some of the harder songs, some of the deep cuts, and then we'll close out the night from the tribute set of things. And then all three bands are going to get together in kind of like how the Metallica did with Megadeth and the Big Four, where everybody kind of got up and did like a big group jam, similar to what we do at Fantasy Springs. And we'll have everybody kind of close out the night with a few songs where we're all jamming together. So yeah, it's going to be an awesome night. I cannot wait.
That's going to be so cool, man. So I believe tickets are almost sold out. Is that true?
Yeah, from what I understand, there's only a handful of tickets left, which is awesome, but not necessarily awesome if you're looking to get a grip of tickets. So
Well,
get on
it's
it
a
quick if you want to go.
definitely it's a great problem to have, but once again, anybody who's watching this, uh your the links are in the descriptions above and below, where you can click on the link and it takes you directly to ticketweb.com, where you can purchase tickets on there. So if you're going to be in the San Francisco area and you want to have a great night, I can guarantee you guys this is going to be great. We got a few more people jumping on. This is a Let's take a look over here at Jessica Knight. I'm
Hey,
assuming
my
that
niece.
she's I'm not assuming. I know Jessica. She's actually a really big fan of the show and a big supporter. And thank you so much, Jessica, for always tuning in. And she messages me too, and I love this. I get a message on the messenger on Facebook, and it's literally it's Tuesday at noon, and it says podcasting day. And like she's just super excited for the podcast, got a lot of enthusiasm, and I thank you so much. And she
Yeah.
says best Christmas present ever, Damage Inc. in San Francisco. That's awesome.
Oh,
um
that's certainly right. And she's very enthusiastic about things, gets very engaged with it, and she's an awesome niece for sure. Love her to
Love it,
death.
love it. And we got my buddy Rod chiming in here,
Hey, Rod.
because you're a Funak. And I and it's funny because sometimes you don't know what we're all replying to, but I will have to go back and check on this. But
That might be a little bit.
good stuff. But yeah, so that is super cool. Now, as far as I know you can't talk about like your actual playlist and stuff like that, but is there any talk of doing? I know you talked about deep cuts and stuff, but any chance we're going to be doing like any type of like medley section where, because I know that you guys do some stuff where it's one after another, but then also you guys deal a lot with not they're not pyrotechnics, they're is it like fog, or is it
Oh
lights, or
yeah,
is it?
a little bit of both. They're the Chauvet like fountains, I guess, if you will. And
Yeah,
so it's a
because
mix
you
of the
guys are
fog.
top notch, man. Like I mean,
Ah, stop.
dude, I even told you when I was at Fantasy Springs. And ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this, I'm not blowing smoke up his ass, because he knows that I would tell him the absolute truth. He knows this. But I've seen Damaging go from years and years and years ago and coming up and just doing their show, but I've seen them evolve over time, and it was so impressive. The last time that I saw them at Fantasy Springs just a few weeks ago, I'm walking on their stage and it's just so clean and it's just so professional, and things are tied down and things are taped down and things are this, and they're getting good levels, and they've got lights and fog on their show, and I'm like, you guys are stepping up your game big time, man.
Thanks,
So
man. We finally grew up a little bit. We started adulting on stage instead of. I think it helps not having going direct and not having the amps kind of eliminate some of the clutter, I guess, if you
because you guys are
will.
doing all in-ears, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's all in ears, all direct through the PA. So it's kind of it helps us because it allows us to have a consistent sound.
Yeah,
You've done this long enough, have dealt with different kinds of places where the
for
sound
sure.
check isn't necessarily how the sound winds up when you go live, and so we just wanted to eliminate that variable and kind of be able to go into my 50s and 60s with some of my hearing left
Right.
and
Oh my
cut down
gosh.
on some of the stage noise. So
That's been happening. I mean, when
mm,
you're hitting, I mean, I started playing music in venues when I was 16, and then by the time I was 21, I'm hearing some tinnitus going on. I'm like, can someone get that phone?
right. Yeah, that buzzing. You're like, am I doing a hearing test right now? I hear that beep. I hear that beep.
but, but but yeah, with technology now, it's you've been able to and because we didn't really have this when we first started,
No.
20 years ago, we didn't have the ability to, they did have in-ears, but you didn't have the ability to have the sound that we have now with in-ears.
Yeah,
It's truly incredible what you
it
can
really
get through
is.
these little in-ears and a little amp, and it just sounds, and you can control the volume, and you can save your hearing.
Yeah.
Um,
And your
So
voice too. I've noticed from a singing standpoint that one of the biggest differences is I'm no longer, when you got just the sound coming out on the monitors and you got all this noise pollution on the stage and everything, you try and push over that. And by
mhm.
the end of the night, you're like, how was the show? Was it okay? Now it's like you can sing at a reasonable volume and,
Yeah.
it's you're not blowing your voice out. So I
Yeah,
can
and
do
you can
three
let the
hours.
front of house do their job, and you don't have to
Exactly.
push so much. You just give them enough where they can take it and run with it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's been a game changer since we switched to that. But yeah, thanks, man. It
That's
did clean up a little bit. It looks a little bit more
yeah.
OCD friendly
I was
on
like, wow, you
stage.
guys looks like Kevin took over the stage here. It's all everything's all straight lines and taped down, and I
Very
like it, man. That's
organized.
good. Well,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm super stoked for you guys. So once again, everybody who's listening right now, if you're in the San Francisco area this weekend, there's a lot going on. Starting on Thursday, it's Metallica's 40th anniversary show, and they reached out to Damage Inc. to create a night on Saturday that is just appreciative of 3 Metallica tribute bands that are jumping up there. That's super cool. So there's stuff going on Thursday. Metallica is playing on Friday. We've got and tributes for all celebration of Metallica with Damage Inc., Motor Breath, and Sandman, and that's on Saturday. And tickets are available. There are a few left, so please, if you guys are in there, click on the link, go see them, and support the local entertainment that's jumping up there. That's pretty awesome that Metallica jumped in and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." That's
Still,
that's
still can't believe it.
that's really
I get to
cool,
be
man.
part of my favorite band's 40th anniversary. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hell
it's a dream come
yeah.
true for
Hell
sure.
yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, with that, I think that's I'm gonna keep this podcast nice and short. And I just want to say thank you so much to Chris Knight jumping on here last minute and talking a little bit and having some stories and having some fun. It's always great to see you, my friend. And
Always a pleasure,
congratulations on
brother.
all your success that's happening right now. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Awesome. All right, you guys. With that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with the 5 Foot Viking podcast, where we get to drink a beer and learn something new. And with that being said, I think we're going to chime out of here. Join me next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And you can always look at everything on after we have it live on Tuesdays. You can look at it afterwards on anchor.fm, or you can find the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you can find podcasts. Just look at the 5 Foot Viking, and you'll see everything there. So thank you guys so much, and I think this is how you end it.